the history of humanity, there are feats of great courage, where men fight and die to defend their people, families, and ideals. But although there are heroes, there are those who are considered traitors. Of course, who is a traitor and who is a hero depends on where we look, but the characters you will see below died because of the most controversial betrayals in history. Number 10. Marshal Pétain. Today I am taking the road of collaboration was the famous phrase that made this character a traitor. Marshal Pétain led the Nazi regime in France after being defeated in World War II. This fascist government represented one of the darkest chapters in French history and was extended to all aspects of life, from the political to the cultural. After the defeat of Germany, Pétain was found guilty of treason and sentenced to death for it. Number 9. Robert Kett. Sentenced to death for high treason, Robert Kett was the leader of a social and political movement known as the Kett Rebellion. This group of rebels that soon became an army of more than 16,000 people successfully raided cities and began an uprising against the general policy of the Lord Protector Edward Seymour. The rebels were defeated and Kett was convicted and sentenced to death by hanging in December 1549. Number 8. 300 Spartans. It is possible that 300 men have died because of one alone. Ephialtes de Trachis became known thanks to the infamous betrayal of his country, and the 300 Spartans who were at war against the Persian leader Xerxes and who died during the Battle of Thermopylae. Ephialtes was killed sometime later and his name became synonymous with treason and nightmare. Number 7. Aztec Empire. From the moment that the beautiful and astute Donna Marina, or better known as La Manlincha, joined forces with the conquistador Hernan Cortés, the fate of the Aztec Empire was sealed. With her extensive knowledge of the weak points of Emperor Moctezuma, this woman handed over the destiny and life of her homeland to foreign powers. Currently, her name is synonymous with betrayal in Mexican culture and is considered as disloyal to her homeland. Number 6. Guy Fawkes. Leader of the greatest act of treason in the history of England, Fawkes was a Catholic man who fought in the Netherlands against the Dutch Protestants. He conspired with others to assassinate the Protestant King James I, but his betrayal was discovered and Fawkes was found guilty and sentenced to hanging and dismemberment. However, to avoid misery and humiliation, he decided to commit suicide. History doesn't always describe truly facts, and in most cases, the victors write them. Fawkes would be known as a traitor if things had been different. Number 5. Benedict Arnold. Feeling betrayed by your own country can lead you to make the worst decisions. At the beginning of the revolution, Benedict Arnold was a successful American commander, but for not being recognized for his achievements, he decided to betray his country and accept an infamous offer from the British. Sell them the West Point Fort. This act was a decisive fact in the war, and after being discovered, he died in England, despised by all and known as the most famous traitor in the United States history. Number 4. Jesse James. While James was a feared but well-known criminal, Ford was just a young man who dreamed of being like him. Known as one of the most dangerous and charismatic bandits, Jesse James also became famous when he was betrayed and murdered by the hands of his best friend Robert Ford. Thanks to this, Ford won the repudiation and hatred of society instead of the fame and recognition he expected. Number 3. Karel Curda. During World War II, Czechoslovakia suffered the Nazi occupation under the ruthless mandate of Reinhard Heydrich, known at that time as the Butcher of Prague. To instill hope in the country, a group of rebels murdered Heydrich, but they were reported by Karel Curda. Because of this, the soldiers committed suicide after giving a brave battle that was immortalized in the machine gun bursts that can still be seen on the walls of the temple. On the shoulders of Karel are the deaths of these rebels, so he died as a traitor. Number 2. Julius Caesar. "You too, Brutus," was the phrase that the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar said before he died. In the middle of the ambush that the Roman senators had prepared for them when the knives took away his life, Caesar lamented the presence of his son, Marco Junio Brutus, covered his head with his toga and resigned himself to his fate. In the end, the story of Marcus Brutus is the example of those who finally betrayed because he loved the Republic more. Number 1. Jesus of Nazareth. Remembered not only for being one of the most important people in history, but also for being the victim of one of the most infamous betrayals in the world. The death of Jesus of Nazareth was sealed by a kiss and for 30 silver coins. Judas Iscariot, with his despicable actions, not only led to the death of Jesus by crucifixion, but also led him to commit suicide and to become the most notorious traitor in history. Thank you for watching. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We publish content every week for your entertainment. Leave a comment to let us know what you would like to see in our next Top 10.